The first thing Daniel noticed was the way she laughed. It was too loud for the quiet street. Not joyful loud, not the kind that bubbles out of happiness. It was the careless, unsteady laughter of someone who had lost the small thread that keeps a person balanced between dignity and disaster. Daniel paused halfway up the steps of his small apartment building. The streetlight flickered above the empty sidewalk. It was past midnight, the kind of late when most of the city had already surrendered to sleep. His muscles ached from 12 hours of hauling packages at the warehouse, and all he wanted was to get upstairs before his babysitter's patience ran out. Then he heard the laugh again, and a car door slam. Daniel turned. Across the street, a sleek black sedan sat crooked against the curb, one tire half up on the sidewalk. The driver's door hung open. A woman leaned against the car, struggling with the simple task of standing upright. Even from a distance, he recognized her. His stomach dropped. Emily Carter, his boss, the regional director of the entire distribution center, the woman who could fire him with a single email. She was still wearing the same sharp navy suit she'd worn that morning during the staff meeting. But now her hair had come loose, and one high heel dangled dangerously from her foot as she tried to steady herself against the car. "Oh, wow," she muttered to the empty street. "Why is the ground moving?" Daniel exhaled slowly. This was not his problem. He had a 7-year-old daughter upstairs waiting for him. Rent due next week. Groceries to stretch until Friday. Getting involved in whatever disaster his boss had created tonight could only make things complicated. He took one step toward the door. Then Emily tried to walk. She made it 2 steps before stumbling into the side mirror of her car and nearly collapsing. Daniel swore under his breath. "Great," he muttered. He crossed the street. "Miss Carter?" She blinked slowly and squinted at him like the world had suddenly developed. 2 extra copies of everything. Do I know you?" she asked. Daniel offered a careful smile. "Daniel, from the warehouse." Her expression shifted. "Warehouse Daniel?" "Just Daniel is fine." She stared at him for a moment, then pointed at him with exaggerated seriousness. "You work very hard," she said. Daniel wasn't sure how to respond to that. "Thank you," he said cautiously. Emily attempted to stand straight again, but gravity seemed determined to negotiate different terms. She leaned heavily against the car. "Are you okay to drive?" Daniel asked. She laughed again. "Oh, absolutely not." That was honest, at least. Daniel glanced at the car. The engine was still running. "Let's turn this off before the car decides to go on an adventure," he said. He reached inside, shut off the engine, and pulled the keys out. Emily watched him with the fascinated curiosity of someone observing a very complicated magic trick. "You're responsible," she said. "I try." A car turned onto the street down the block. Daniel felt a familiar knot tighten in his chest. The last thing his boss needed right now was a police officer noticing a clearly intoxicated executive leaning against a car she had obviously been driving. "Where do you live?" he asked gently. Emily frowned like the question required advanced mathematics. "Big house," she said. "That narrows it down." She giggled. "White gate, trees." Daniel sighed. "Okay, let's try something else." He pulled out his phone. "Do you have someone I can call? Family? Friend?" She stared at the phone like it might bite her. Then she whispered dramatically, "My assistant would murder me." Daniel rubbed the back of his neck. "All right." Another car passed slowly down the street. Emily tried to push away from the car again and nearly fell. Daniel caught her before she hit the pavement. She froze. For a moment, the laughter disappeared. Her face softened with an odd mixture of embarrassment and exhaustion. "I had a very bad day," she said quietly. Daniel nodded. "Looks like it." There was a long pause. Then she whispered, "I think I might ruin everything tomorrow." Daniel didn't ask what she meant. Instead, he helped her sit in the passenger seat. "Let's focus on getting you home first," he said. After a few attempts, Emily managed to unlock her phone with face recognition and show him her address. It was 20 minutes away. Daniel hesitated. His babysitter was already working late. His daughter would be asleep soon. But the alternative was leaving his boss, alone on the sidewalk with a running car and the high probability of turning tonight into a career-ending scandal. He closed the passenger door. "Okay," he said. "Let's go." The drive was mostly quiet. Emily leaned her head against the window, occasionally mumbling half-formed thoughts. At one point she said, "You're very kind for a warehouse guy." Daniel laughed softly. "Kindness isn't part of the job description?" "Not usually." When they reached the large white gate she'd mentioned, Daniel whistled quietly. The house behind it looked like something from a magazine. Emily fumbled with the keypad and managed to open the gate. Inside, Daniel helped her walk to the front door. Just before going in, she looked at him again. "Thank you," she said more clearly this time. Daniel nodded. "Get some sleep." He turned to leave. "Daniel?" she called. He looked back. "If I forget this tomorrow, it's because my brain hates me," she said. He smiled slightly. "Good night, Miss Carter." The next morning, Daniel expected exactly what usually happened in stories like this. Nothing. He clocked in at the warehouse at 7 a.m., scanned packages, and tried not to think about the awkwardness of seeing his boss again. By 9 a.m., rumors started spreading. "Corporate's here today." Daniel didn't think much of it, until his supervisor approached. "Daniel," he said nervously, "Ms. Carter wants to see you upstairs." Daniel's stomach tightened. He wiped his hands and followed him to the administrative offices. The conference room door stood open. Inside sat Emily Carter, perfectly composed. Hair neat, suit sharp, expression calm. 3 executives sat beside her. She looked up as Daniel entered. For one terrifying moment, he wondered if she truly had forgotten. Then she stood. "Good morning, Daniel." "Morning," he said carefully. The other executives looked confused. Emily folded her hands. "I want everyone here to understand something," she said. The room fell silent. "Last night I made a very poor decision." Daniel's eyes widened slightly. Emily continued calmly. "I attended a corporate event and drank more than I should have. I attempted to drive home. That decision could have ended my career, or worse." One of the executives shifted uncomfortably. Emily gestured toward Daniel. "This man stopped that from happening." Daniel felt the heat rise in his face. "I didn't." She gently raised a hand. "You helped me get home safely. You didn't take advantage of the situation. You didn't call anyone. You didn't embarrass me." The room remained silent. Emily smiled slightly. "You simply helped." She turned back to the others. "That kind of character is exactly what this company should reward." Daniel blinked. Emily slid a folder across the table. "Daniel Carter has worked in our warehouse for 6 years. Perfect attendance. Consistent performance. 0 complaints." One executive nodded slowly. Emily looked back at Daniel. "Starting next month, you'll be training for an operations supervisor position." Daniel stared at her. What?" She smiled. "Promotion. Pay raise. Normal hours." His voice caught slightly. "I have a daughter," he said quietly. "This would help a lot." "I know," Emily replied. The room shifted as the meeting wrapped up. But before Daniel left, Emily stopped him. "Daniel." "Yes?" Her voice softened. Most people would have walked away last night. Daniel shrugged. "My dad used to say something," he said. "What?" "Help people when they're at their worst. That's when it matters most." Emily nodded slowly. "Well," she said, smiling warmly, "your father sounds like a wise man." Daniel walked back to the warehouse, floor feeling like the weight of the world had lifted from his shoulders. Sometimes kindness didn't change anything, but sometimes it changed everything.